Today on Drew, in a daytime exclusive.
There was no higher career calling card than to work with Woody Allen.
This is too personal for human consumption. Whatever's going on now is not the sum of your entire life. There is this darkness deep, deep inside.
It all starts now.
Welcome, everyone. Our first guest is the main subject in the harrowing documentary, Allen versus Farrow, in which she leaves no stone left unturned, bearing it all about the abuse she says she endured as a child. It is important to note that Woody Allen has never been criminally charged in connection with these allegations. To say this story has a very complicated history is an understatement. Please take a look. The new HBO docuseries, Allen versus Farrow, examines the abuse allegations involving famed director Woody Allen. The series revolves around Dylan Farrow, the adopted daughter of actress Mia Farrow and Woody Allen. Raised by someone considered to be a treasure of the cinema, Dylan's childhood was once seen as idyllic to the outside world. But in 1992, when abuse allegations were raised, that all changed.
Allen denies child abuse.
Woody gave a press conference, and our jaws dropped.
No matter what you think you know, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Dividing her family, Hollywood, and the public, Dylan's claims of abuse and the latest interviews bring us into her past trauma with the aid of her brother, Ronan, and her mother's perspectives. New footage and recordings are shared in this documentary, seemingly supporting the claims made by the then 7-year-old Dylan.
He made me feel so special. That's where things get really, really complicated. Because threaded throughout all of those good times, there was a lot more going on.
Woody Allen and his wife Soon Yi, also an adopted daughter of Mia, have consistently denied these allegations, stating that they are, quote, categorically false.
It's taken me a long time to sort of reconcile that you can love somebody and be afraid of them.
An adult now, Dylan remains adamant in her disclosures that she has repeatedly stated for the past 20 years. She now uses her platform to try and teach other survivors to be brave and resilient themselves. I'm very honored to welcome the very brave Dylan Farrow.
Hi. So nice to meet you. It's so nice to see you. You're real. Oh my gosh, you're here.
By the way, I feel like you look so different in person.
Do I? Oh my God. I have all my makeup on. Normally I'm like...
If you saw me crawl into work every morning, I look like someone they wouldn't let in the building. And
I felt the same way. There was a very nice girl who came to the hotel, and she did it ahead of time, and it was really cute. My daughter got to see all of her makeup stuff. She was very enamored of that, so.
You know, our life is in chapters. And I think we should hold this conversation, especially in honor of you being an incredible YA novelist, by the way, with your brand new book out called Hush. I think I would love to conduct this conversation, if I may, in a writerly way to honor your beautiful career, and because I do believe that life is a book with many chapters. I want to say first out of the gate, too, that I would like to explain myself, because this is not about me, but I wanted to sort of have this type of candor. I worked with Woody Allen. I did a film with him in 1996 called Everyone Says I Love You. And there was no higher career calling card than to work with Woody Allen. And then I had children. And it changed me, because I realized that I was one of the people who was basically gaslit into not looking at a narrative beyond what I was being told, And I see what's happening in the industry now.
Yeah.
And that is because of you making that brave choice. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Hearing what you just said, like, I mean, I'm trying not to cry right now. But like, it is just so meaningful, because it's easy for me to say, like, of course you shouldn't work with him, you know, he's a jerk, he's a monster. But I just find it incredibly brave and incredibly generous that you would say to me that that my story and what I went through was important enough to you to reconsider that.
Absolutely. And how hard was it for you to engage in this documentary, which I really want to make a caveat about, that your family did not produce?
No, they came to us.
I think that's very important for people to understand. Your family did not produce this documentary.
No, we participated.
And apparently everyone was asked to participate.
Yeah, no, they went to everyone. And that was important, you know, even just to me to know that, like, that there was a level of journalistic integrity at work here.
So did your family get together and say, these people are different, they're taking a tone, they're using a diligence, there's a thoroughness here that feels safer in order to come out and make this brave decision?
I was actually the one who initially told my mom and told Ronan, you know, like, hey, you know, I sat down with these people and I really think that they are on the up and up. So then when my mom agreed to be interviewed, I was really, really shocked. And when Ronan agreed, I was even more shocked. And then Fletcher agreed, and I was picking my jaw up off the floor. And, you know, gradually more and more of my siblings signed on, and a few of them didn't. Mm-hmm. And I've spoken to them about that too, and I respect that decision as well. But I mean, in terms of like a family meeting, not really. But there was communication, and interestingly, the documentary has led to greater communication between us as a result, I think, which is interesting.
May I ask why you were surprised that they signed on?
I think mostly because we wouldn't talk about it to each other. So talking about it publicly, it just seemed absolutely incomprehensible.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, more with Dylan. Welcome back to a very important and honest conversation with Dylan Farrow. You know, how did your mom feel watching the documentary?
I mean, it was tough because I would have loved to have been able to watch the series with her. And at the time, that just wasn't possible. We were in separate quarantine pods, unfortunately. So I really sort of heard everything from her after the fact. You know, it was just a very strange pathway that we navigated separately and together. Mm-hmm. But I think it definitely changed a lot about how me and my mom relate to each other and interact with each other. And I think there's a very renewed level of just respect, just woman to woman.
I mean, sometimes when I think back on memories of my life, there has like a gauze, a patina, a sort of surrealist reverie. I know mentally that time has gone by, but I also can feel like I can be back there in a moment's notice, like that. even if it does feel almost watching a home movie. And then when you were watching the home movie of you, what did you think and feel and remember?
It was a really bizarre psychological experience for me, honestly, because I had the video in my house. I gave it to my husband and I just said, put it in just sort of like the darkest corner that you can find, just know where it is. And that moment of just in case happened when I was talking to Amy and she asked if she could see/use the video in the series. And my first reaction was like, absolutely not. Like, no, I draw the line here. This is too much. It is too personal. I don't want to see the video. I don't want anybody else to see this video. And Amy, I don't know how she talked me into it. She managed to get the video taken. I had my husband bring it out of that dark corner of wherever he stashed it in the closet. And we watched it on someone's computer, and my husband had to leave the room. He was like, I can't, this is too much. And I was just like completely numb. I watched the entire thing as though I was watching someone else. Just a little girl who looked kind of like me, who, sounded kind of like me, and I just completely disassociated from it. And, they went on their way. I was like, please just, let me think over using this. And a week went by, almost like exactly. And I was sitting in my house and I just suddenly burst into tears. And it hit me. Everything from the tape it punched me right in the face. And I was just sobbing uncontrollably for like a couple of days on and off about what I saw and just sort of trying to mentally reconcile the fact that that little girl on the tape was me. And she was talking about something that happened to me. And it was overwhelming. It's very difficult sometimes to know that that part of me is such a dark, painful place. I mean, because when I look at my life now, I have a wonderful husband, I have a wonderful daughter, I have a wonderful life, and I'm really excited about, my career writing and, taking my daughter to kindergarten next year and all the wonderful things that surround me. And yet there is this impenetrable darkness deep, deep inside that, I'm going to be honest, I still don't know what to do with.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to take another break, but when we come back, I would really love to talk to you about not only finding love, but being able to trust. We'll be right back. More with Dylan Farrow. We are back with Dylan Farrow. I would love to talk about your husband. How do you go from having the life that you had and not being trepidatious, but being
really
bold?
I really liked him. I was very smitten, and I felt confident that I wasn't like asking for something ridiculous, because I've, seen guys that have been like, so what do you think of moving this into relationship territory? And they just like book it. And at the time, of course, I internalized that as like, oh, well, this is because I'm messed up. And so,
How did you not do that with your husband?
That is a really good question. I guess it was because I really liked him. He did try to break up with me, and a lot of that was because I had hang-ups about sex. So I think it was when he tried to break up with me was when it sort of crystallized for me that this was something that I wanted. This was something that I wanted enough to address the things that he was talking about, the issues, which was sex, which was from trauma, which was from things that I did not like to think about. So in a lot of ways, it really, I think it started me sort of on that path to looking inward and examining myself a little bit more critically.
So then, did you overcome that hurdle, I'm guessing?
It's an ongoing process. I mean, because in a lot of ways, I feel like sex hang-ups are something that grow with us. And it's just sort of confronting the issues as they arise and not getting discouraged by them, I guess. I mean, what is wrong with me has been like my mantra across my life. And I'm trying to change it because it's an outlook thing. It's an attitude thing. And the fact that it's my knee-jerk reaction, you know, is because of trauma. It's because I internalize things, and I think that everything is my fault, and I think that I'm a failure, and I'm, you know, again, like when the person that I am when I'm tanked.
So today, say that crops up. It rears its ugly head. How do you whack-a-mole that today? What would your inner dialogue be today to thwart that demon?
It's, you know, honestly, I want to know the answer to that question too, because it is a work in progress. And sometimes it does feel like I'm flinging pennies at a battleship, and, you know, that there's nothing, I mean, like, that I can say or do for myself, to myself, that will change anything, because I'm stuck.
And yet you're out there being brave. So what attempts did you make to reclaim your life?
You know, like, there are times when I'll be, you know, having a bad day, and my daughter will come home from school, and I'm just like, okay, no, now I am in mom mode. I am her mother now, and this can't interfere with that. I can't let that interfere with her, because I don't want my problems to be her problems.
Do you think that you're the most sane when it comes to being a parent?
I think being a parent has given me a clarity of being able to sort of step outside of all the craziness in my brain and examine myself as, who do I want this person to be that my little girl is going to see, looking up to for her entire life? I want her to think, you know, my mom was a fighter, and I want her to think, you know, my mom never gave up, and my mom didn't let crappy people bring her down. She, you know, she stood up to people. She stood up for the things that she believed in, the things she thought was right. And I want to be that person too.
Do you know that you take on a very different energy when you talk about being a parent?
I love being a parent. I love being Evangeline's parent. You know, she is just, the light that she brings to my life is indescribable.
Is it the best thing that's ever happened to your life?
Yeah. It really, I mean, I'm very lucky. I have a lot of good things in my life, and Evangeline, I feel, has just elevated that.
When we come back, more with Dylan. We are back in conversation with Dylan Farrow. How do you deal with any fears that crop up as a parent? Because I have mine from my own history or my own stories, or things that are big triggers to me.
I mean, I think about that a lot, because I do have things that trigger me in my daily life, things that, you know, are probably just like completely stupid for other people that just send me completely down the spiral. And I'm actually kind of proud of myself that I've gotten to the point where I can see a trigger or experience some sort of trigger, I freeze, and all of that, you know, fun stuff happens, the emotions, the recall, the sensations, and I can process it. And sometimes it means wading through some of the negativity.
How do you tell people to handle their triggers? If you see an image, what do you do?
I mean, this happened to me, like, was it last week, maybe the week before? I was just, you know, scrolling through my news feed, and an article pops up that, you know who, and his wife went to a restaurant. And I was just tailspin completely. I was just like, I can't handle this. I don't want to see this. Like, why are they going to restaurants anyway? Like, I was really very heavily triggered, and I was not okay. And it took a couple days of me just sort of like trying to like massage myself back into a normal space.
Can I ask, do you know, if people looking in who maybe have not experienced anything like this, is it the layers, the repetition, the many years? You watch the documentary and...
It's really, I mean, the unfairness of it. It's frustrating, and then it makes me feel hopeless. Like what was the point of it all? And then it's reminding myself of facts that I know, things that I can tether to. The documentary did accomplish something. I mean, I think Rain reported that people were calling them at an increased rate of like about 20% during the documentary, which means that survivors are out there connecting with my story and healing from it. It's bittersweet thinking, you know, like, this story is something that connects a lot of survivors who are hurting. And okay, what more can we do for them? Like, how can we make this world a space that women feel empowered or feel at least less terrified?
That is so well said.
Thank you.
It really is. What a perfect, amazing answer to that question.
It's tough because, like, I wish that I could say, like, here is like, you know, a 10-step plan to, you know, completely feeling healed and fulfilled in your life. If you follow these steps, you know, you're going to be just fine. I wish I had that. What works for me might not work for somebody else. So I think the best advice that I offer is just be true to yourself and the truth that you have lived.
As a last question, you turned to fantasy writing.
I did.
What do you get out of creating these fantasy worlds for yourself, and what do you want other people to get from them?
I think in a lot of ways, seeing that sort of veil of fantasy is a very appealing way for me to sort of process stories that I read, how they relate to myself, sort of understanding them a little bit better. Maybe, you know, it's a metaphor or an allegory for like a dragon, because like dragons are cool. Dragons are awesome. And dragons are also really scary.
I was going to say, they really represent like the thing that you slay.
Yes.
They are there to be overcome, or they will eat you alive.
Yes.
And it's a very
It's the
emboldened
ultimate
choice.
metaphor for struggle, is a dragon.
In the metaphor of the book and the closing of that circle and that loop, what is your next chapter?
Well, I'm actually really excited. I've entered the editing phase for the sequel to Hush, and I'm looking at starting a whole new writing project and, diving into something completely different maybe, and also just, continuing my little life in my little house with my little family unit and seeing what else is on the horizon. I feel like, good things are on the way.
I think that is absolutely full of hope, full of strength. Thank you so much. Dylan Farrow, the 4-part HBO documentary series, Alan versus Farrow, is available on HBO and HBO Max. And her book, Hush, is also available and apparently might have a sequel, which is very exciting. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Dylan, for coming here, this conversation, everything. I have been so looking forward to it.
Oh,
seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much, and we'll be back. Welcome back. Thank you. You rock too, ma'am. And thank you for that sign. Thank you so much for all your signs, Drew's News. I love it. And ma'am, your beautiful baby sleeping on your chest. I mean, come on. For all us parents, gosh, is that not the best time? Or what? Speaking of, our next guest is an amazing new mom. And she comes from a lineage of Hollywood legends and political figures and award-winning journalists. Yeah, she was a part of a first family of California family. I think we're all madly in love with her husband in a very platonic way. He's just like kind of all of our heroes. She is an ASPCA ambassador, a New York Times bestselling author, philanthropist, and a new mom. Please welcome Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
How is it, your beautiful almost 1-year-old?
She just turned 9 months. So she's just the cutest little angel I've ever seen. And I'm obsessed with her, as I'm sure most parents say about their children. And it's the most fun role and experience that I've ever had. And I love absolutely every single minute of it. It's been such a joy. She's perfect.
And you are married to Chris Pratt, who is just, I've had, luckily enough, the fortune and privilege of meeting him a couple times. He is always the nicest human being. He has the best reputation. Everybody loves him. He's like the coolest human on the planet. Yes. When you met him, how long was it before you're like, you're the one?
We talk about that a lot because I'm pretty sure we both knew right away that this is where our relationship was headed, and we clicked, very quickly. And so he's the best, and I'm so, so grateful. And it's so beautiful to be able to watch him, step into this new role of being a girl dad, and he's the best husband and best dad. And I feel so grateful every single day for him.
I am so happy for you. It's so wonderful to hear good people in the world happy,
Thank you.
Happiness is one of the greatest blessings. Mm-hmm. And I am on a new mission to really talk about the power of forgiveness. What was the catalyst for you to approach this subject and put it at the forefront in this extraordinary book?
Well, thank you. I think that for me, forgiveness, the interest in forgiveness really came when I realized that I was really struggling with forgiveness and my inability to practice it. And I also didn't really know what it meant to me. And it really just was so helpful to me to be able to hear other people's experiences and to hear how people have struggled with it, and some still struggle with it, and how some people have been able to practice it. And also, we don't really talk about it, yet we all will experience it at some point in our lives. And I feel really lucky that it's been able to be helpful for other people as well.
There is something really for everyone in this book. And I just want to thank you for leading the charge on helping people find an ability to do such a courageous, important, and liberating act. And I know you also partnered with the baby probiotic company In Vivo. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, In Vivo. It's crazy because, you know, when I think a lot about just being a new mom and teaching her about so many things and also being taught about so many things. And one of the things that I learned about was newborn gut deficiency, which actually impacts over 90% of babies born in America. And that's just a lack of good bacteria in babies' guts. And it's crazy because we always hear about like diaper rash and colic in newborn babies, and we think that's normal. But the reality is that has a lot to do with just an imbalanced gut. And so just being able to have the ability to work with a company like In Vivo and give an infant probiotic is just really incredible. And I've had such a great experience with it that it's like one of those things that I want to share with all new moms, to be able to research about newborn gut deficiency, but then also just be able to give it to their babies.
And you have an Instagram series before, during, and after baby. Will you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's been so incredible. I recently did one with my mom for Mother's Day, which was hilarious. But I've had such a great time doing it, and it's all things before, during, after baby. So we talk about everything from fertility to pregnancy to labor, relationships, sex, newborn gut deficiency, really just all the different topics that we want to know more about. And we have guests come on and talk about all these subjects, and we do it every Thursday at noon. And it's been such a fun experience for me, and I'm learning so much as a new mom. So it's also really beneficial that way.
Well, thank goodness for that. And also, I was so excited to talk about this book, and I know it's new, out in paperback. The Gift of Forgiveness, Inspiring Stories from Those Who Have Overcome the Unforgivable.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you. Thank you,
so
Katherine
much.
Schwarzenegger Pratt. We'll be right back. Thank you. Look at this gorgeousness. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be sharing the kitchen with not one, but two of my favorite people. First, she's my culinary partner in crime and co-author of our upcoming cookbook, Rebel Homemaker. It's Chef Pilar Valdes. And next, she's the founder of Nguyen Coffee Supply, America's first specialty Vietnamese coffee importer and roaster. She's also an incredible activist who uses her platform to fight for social justice and racial justice. Please welcome Sahra Nguyen. Back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We've done so much. In fact, we were talking before the segment. Pilar made Sahra a special surprise.
Yes, I brought some chili crisp. I took her coffee out for a run and made a little chili crisp, and I brought it for her today.
It looks amazing. I cannot wait to try it.
And then Sarah's mom was kind enough to make us her famous pork, and we got to eat it for lunch, so thank you.
Oh my God, my mom's gonna be so happy.
Well, it's really nice to just have a family vibe here. And Sarah, May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and nobody is better to speak to this than you. Why is this so important that we pay homage to this month?
First of all, thank you so much for creating this space, Drew. So for us, APAM, or Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, is so important to us because there's this collective effort to humanize the Asian American experience. And over at Nguyen Coffee Supply, we're doing that by using our platform to share stories from our communities, to provide education around Asian American history, and to amplify Asian American activists.
Well, you do the best job at that, and you've been a really important teacher on our show and all over our digital and social media. So you're just changing the narrative around Vietnamese coffee, which I have been sipping on, and I've always loved it with food. So Pilar and I were talking, and we were like, what about working with Sahra on a coffee cooking segment?
Yeah, I feel like it was right after you had been on the show, and I was like, let's do recipes with her coffee. So we've come up with not one, not two, but 3 recipes using coffee. So the first way we use Sahra's coffee, actually, is as a spice rub. So this one is a grilled skirt steak. And it has a chili and coffee rub. So in there, we have finely ground coffee. And then to that, we're gonna add some chili flakes, some smoked paprika, some ground cumin, and some brown sugar. So you're gonna season that all over the steak. Yeah, pat it in there. I was
gonna say pack it in.
Pack it in there. So that looks really great, Drew. So what you're gonna do is pour some oil into the hot pan, just a little bit, that's great. And we're gonna sear off the steaks.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
That cooks off, and then we actually have a little bit of a swap out, finished seared steak on the side. And I like to serve it with a fennel and arugula salad. So shall we give it a taste?
I'm so excited.
To taste your beautiful coffee.
Oh my God.
Wait, that coffee smells really nice.
It smells so good.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The spices in the coffee.
Yeah, that rub is really, really wonderful.
Pilar, you're a genius.
All right, shall we next up?
Yep, next up.
Coffee roasted beets. So we have a little bit of coffee. We have fennel seeds, cumin, and so all the spices are actually whole. And what I'm gonna do is lay the beets in those coffee and spices, and then we're gonna cover it with a little bit of water. And basically you're gonna wrap it with foil and roast it at a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes.
And with the magic of television.
Oh, and I love this with a salted yogurt sauce. Shall we?
Wow.
I couldn't love this dish more.
Wow.
So our last recipe for the day, we're using brewed coffee.
Yep.
And it's in a chocolate pot or a pot de creme, basically. So I know, I'm ready. I'm ready to just like dig in. So what Sahra has over there, what Sahra has over there is some egg yolks, and we're gonna, there's some sugar in there as well, and we're gonna whisk in actually some of the brewed coffee.
Okay, the whole thing?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So she's gonna whisk that, and then she's gonna combine the egg mixture with the chocolate mixture. The chocolate mixture in front of her is just some warmed up heavy cream and some chocolate that has been melted and mixed through. And then, Sahra, when that's combined, you're gonna mix in the softened butter too, the room temp butter.
So you've got everything in the bowl, and you let that set for at least 2 hours.
And we topped it with a little whipped cream, because why not?
Are we supposed to eat it now?
Yes, absolutely. Bon app.
Oh my God.
I'm dancing.
You guys, I think I just got weak in the knees.
Nay.
This is insane.
Thank you so much, Sahra.
Thank you, Pilar, for blessing us with these amazing recipes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, Sahra. Pilar Valdes and Sahra Nguyen. Go to thedrewbarrymoreshow.com for all 3 of these extraordinary recipes. And be sure to check out Win Coffee Supplies so you can get your hands on this delicious coffee. We'll be right back. From Aquaman to Baywatch.
Really, we just went down there to meet ladies.
Jason Momoa. Have your kids seen Game of Thrones?
Oh, God, no.
And I'm flying with an all-female crew from the U.S. Air Force.
How do you feel about being about 12 feet behind another aircraft?
All new Drew on the next Drew Barrymore Show. Before we go, it's time for another check-in with the Drew Van. Our road-tripping couple, Noah and Karen, have been making their way across the country from California, and they'll be joining us here in New York in a few days. But today, they're helping us surprise a very special small business owner in Washington, D.C. There they are now. But first, let's meet Kathy Oliphant Wilson. She's a veteran who thought outside the box and turned her passion for giving presents into a business with her company, Blush Boxes, that delivers curated gift boxes. And Kathy is joining us now, along with ABC 7 reporter and our good friend of the show, Kid O'Shea. Hi, Kid. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Drew. Oh, my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you.
Oh, Kathy.
What a wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
I feel the exact same way. And, Kid, I'm always happy to see you.
Great to see you again, Drew. Thank you for having me back.
Beautiful, Kathy. Please tell me about your extraordinary small business and how it came about.
So, Drew, I decided to start my business about 1.5 years ago, right before the onset of COVID, because I wanted to utilize my gifts, my passions, and my abilities to give myself back to the planet. I really wanted to make sure that I was operating in my gift and transitioning from my career to my calling. I felt like it was important for me to, again, give my gifts and my talents to people and to help them deal with the stresses that we're currently experiencing right now.
Absolutely incredible.
I love that. We would be honored if you would join our little book of Small Businesses Gift Guide. If you go to the DrewBarrymoreShow.com, you'll be seeing Kathy's amazing blush boxes featured, and then it will live permanently on our website for everyone to see and go to.
Thank you so much.
How cool is that?
Is so cool.
By the way, Kathy, have you heard about our Drew van?
I sure have.
Noah and Karen just pulled up with something special for you.
They are here.
All right.
Look at that.
It's $5,000, and it's a donation to Blush Boxes. Oh, the curated
Virtual
gifting.
hug, Drew.
Virtual hug, Kathy. We want to help continue to make your business the success it deserves to be and is.
Thank you so very much. Oh, my goodness, thank you.
$5,000 check right behind you. All yours.
I can go back here.
You can go back there. Go touch it.
Thank you, Kid and Kathy, so much. Thank you so much. Noah and Karen, we'll see you in New York soon. And to all of you at home, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take all of this goodness with you. It's for you. And thank you for joining us so much. We'll see you soon.